Hey everyone, it's Lars here, and welcome back to Virtual Paddock. When it comes to online racing, most of what I do is endurance, together with my team, which is Team MSB by NRingInfo. But ever since late March, when we did the RCI 12 Hours of Bathurst, which to be honest didn't really go that well, and I didn't even make a video about it. That was my last endurance race until this past Saturday, when we did the RCI 4 Hours of Hungaroring in ACC. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of that track, but I just really wanted to get back into endurance racing. Now, for this race you could have anywhere from 1 up to 4 drivers. We went with 4. Nico, Stian, Max and myself. And the car we chose was the 2019 Porsche 911 GT3R, car number 285. And originally we wanted to compete in the silver category, but unfortunately by the time we signed up, the pro and silver split was already full. So we ended up going for the amateur split instead. First one in the car was Nico, so he did qualifying and the first stint in the race, with his best time in qualifying being a 1:45.510, which put us P15 out of 25, and about 1.8 seconds off pole. Then for the race, Nico absolutely nailed the start, so even before turn 1 he'd already gained a few positions. P11 by the end of the first lap, and P9 by lap 5. And seemed to me like he actually had more pace than he could show, because for a lot of the first 10 laps, we were stuck behind the number 61 Bentley, keeping really close, but even with slipstream and in the highest engine mode, we couldn't get by on the main straight. But Nico just kept his patience, finally got by on lap 9. And well, 2 laps later he managed to do what was our team's fastest lap of the race, which was a 1:45.378. Now, we may not have been the overall fastest, but as an endurance team, we know that consistency and just staying out of trouble is far more important. Which is exactly what Nico did. Other cars clashing, Nico kept it clean, which then, by lap 24, got him all the way up to 3rd. He did get 1 track limit warning, but apart from that, his stint was flawless. And P3 is where he stayed until his pit stop, when he handed the car over to me. I rejoined in P4 and I immediately had a lap car behind me, who seemed to be at least on similar pace, maybe even a bit faster than us. So at some point I decided to just let him pass, simply because he wasn't a threat for position. But unfortunately P5 wasn't far behind, and they were a bit faster than me as well. So I did unfortunately lose 1 position slightly afterwards. Didn't let it bother me too much though. I just focused on keeping things clean and consistent, and that definitely worked out well for me. Now, a very common problem for me in past races was that I often let cars behind me put too much pressure on me, meaning that whenever there was a car maybe less than 1.5 or 2 seconds behind me and it was for position, it would get me into the mindset of I need to stay ahead, I need to push, and I would focus too much on that gap, and obviously that's just a recipe for mistakes. But somehow in this race, even when I noticed cars getting closer, that didn't really happen. It felt like my ability to focus had massively improved, which made it a lot easier to stay consistent. So even when the guys in P6 were starting to close in on me, I found myself able to stay calm, manage the gap, and even slightly open it back up again. Another factor that helped was just how good the car felt. It was on point. Setup was perfect. And I even said to my teammates that I felt one with the car. Managed to keep things clean. I did get 1 more track limit warning, but no significant mistakes or anything. So I was really satisfied with my stint, and I actually hadn't expected it to go that smoothly. I honestly thought that I'd be at least a little bit rusty. So obviously I was really happy with my part, and then I handed the car over to Stian. And basically, Stian continued where I'd left off. I'd been doing around low to mid 46s, occasionally high 45. And Stian kept that pace. Actually, he was even slightly faster, consistently between high 45s to low 46 all throughout the stint. And generally, it seemed that the Porsche was actually faster early in the stint. least for all of us, we all set our individual personal bests in the first half of our stints. We did notice that the car in P6, which was the number 137 Porsche, they were definitely gaining on us, but still quite a way back, and gaining just a few tenths a lap, and also still separated by traffic. So Stian's stint was pretty uneventful actually. There were a few times when it looked to me like he ran a bit wide and thought that maybe there would be another track limit warning, but luckily it wasn't. And then for the final hour, Stian handed over to Max. And Max immediately had a big problem. No force feedback. Now, I've had the problem earlier this year at Kyalami, but only for like 2 or 3 laps before I could get out of the car. Whereas Max had to deal with it for the entire stint. So nearly an hour without feeling what the car was doing. And that obviously slowed him down a bit, but not by much. He still managed to do pretty consistent mid-46s. I honestly think that I would have been slower without force feedback. It did unfortunately lead to another 1 or 2 track limit warnings. Ended up getting us a drive-through penalty, which did cost us 1 position, so when he cleared it we were P6. But that's where he kept it, so we finished P6, 1 lap down from the leader, out of 21 or 22 cars that still finished the race. And we're more than happy with that result. Because after that good start, our goal for the race was to finish within the top 10, which clearly we achieved. And we were actually the 4th most consistent team, with a consistency of 98.69% according to statistics. And for me personally, after such a long time away from endurance racing, it's great to come back with a result like this. Anyway, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and want to see more content like this, be sure to click like and subscribe. So, till next time, use the downforce, and see you soon.